Transhumanism is a philosophical movement that advocates for the transformation of the human condition by developing and making widely available sophisticated technologies able to greatly modify or enhance human intellect and physiology. The bold vision of this movement is the singularity, a point in the near future when technology will be changing so rapidly that we will have to enhance ourselves with artificial intelligence to keep up. And it is supposed to be the dawning of a new civilization in which we will no longer be dependent on our physical bodies, and that we will be thousands of times more intelligent than what we are now. Human aging and illness will be reversed, world hunger and poverty will be solved, and we will ultimately eliminate death. Once you hear such thing, many questions come into your mind, like, should we believe in this idea? Is the ultimate vision of transhumanism possible at all, or is it just an over-optimistic theory depicted by the scientists? Or is it even a propaganda to further the agenda of the system? Before answering these questions, I want to tell you that this is a real project going on. There are people around the world today that are working on this project. People who are dedicated for it, from national leaders to military leaders to academia, the world's most famous philosophers and scientists. They are committed to this project as the fulfilling of the next step in human evolution.
So the human being has a nature, that nature is fixed. We have a human nature. Now you have a movement, transhumanist movement, which is a very serious problem right now on the planet, because there are certain people. I mean, how many people came into the airport in Toronto through there? Did you notice those HSBC, those bank bill? How many people were troubled by those? Huh? They were all over. A new world is coming. They had a picture of a fly with cameras for eyes. Like, where's democracy? Who's voting on whether to give flies camera eyes or not? I mean, this is like Frankenstein. You know, Dr. Frankenstein is let loose on the modern world. So and this is funded by NASA, it's funded by Google, it's funded by billionaires who want to download information. And it's this move towards a hybrid human being where technology merges with biology. And they're working very seriously on this. I mean, this is a serious project. Artificial intelligence is a serious project. They want to get to this singularity point. So we're dealing with situations that previous generations did not deal with.
Since transhumanism is a philosophical movement, most of its ideas are based on optimistic speculations. In fact, some of the ideas that are known under the concept of transhumanism are possible, but not everything they say is correct. For example, they can transplant some devices in one's body to help him in his daily life. But things like eliminating death or uploading one's memory and consciousness in some devices in order to give him the ability to be independent of his physical body and to live forever in a virtual reality is something which is totally impossible. The idea that you will be alive in a computer's memory will immediately classify you as being eternal. And most of those who are behind this concept know that they can't have access to eternal life in this world. But they intentionally propose these kind of attractive ideas for two reasons. First, to create a mindset among the people to reject the existence of God and to think that they themselves can become gods if they reach to this singularity point. Second, to make you busy with these ideas so that you don't notice the real agendas going on at the background of this movement. So this is a very serious movement which is not only related to advancement in artificial intelligence, but it also covers some other main issues which are related to the alteration of human race, like vaccination, food manipulation, genetic engineering of human embryo, and so on. And they're going to use genetics, robotics, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, neuropharmacology, and other specific branches of science to reach their goals. Transhumanism was originally founded in 1950s by a top eugenicist of the New World Order called Julian Huxley and the Rockefeller Foundation as a new brand name for the pseudoscience of eugenics, so Huxley is generally regarded as the founder of transhumanism. Since the Huxley family is one of the strong supporters of the theory of evolution, Julian Huxley established the idea of transhumanism as the next step in human evolution. And from the other side, there's a strong connection between transhumanism and realism, or the alien agenda. Realism believes that human beings are created by aliens with their advanced technology, and human beings in near future can have access to the same type of technology that will allow them to become immortal, super intelligent, and superpower, and it allows them to easily communicate with their creators or aliens. This is exactly what the scientists and spiritual leaders of transhumanist movements say. The reason why transhumanism, Darwinism, and realism are interrelated is that they are all created by the same organization. And those of you who have watched the 20th episode of this series know the roots and evil agendas of Darwinism and realism. Now, transhumanism is a further step in their plans. Well, the reason why we are covering this topic is that it's highly interesting and serious issue amongst the scientists and their followers, which will soon become a global mindset. And there are key investors behind this project like DARPA, CIA, Google, Amazon, and other important institutions and corporations. And there are multiple goals that they want to accomplish through this movement. A good example of it is that the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency budgets millions of dollars for creating the blueprint for biodesign, which is the creation of a new synthetic form of life that will be militarized and will be immortal according to DARPA's budget. The rise of technology was always a serious threat to the people's private lives. And every step in evolution of technology is a part of transhumanism. In fact, one of the main goals of the system is to apply more control on your life through advancement in technology. Usage of devices allow them to know where you go, what you do, what you eat, and so on. And they even do not suffice to these external devices. They rather want you to implant some devices inside your body and carry it as a part of your body. This way they can have more access to your privacy. A good example is the microchips. The whole concept of transhumanism is based on materialistic point of view, which means the followers of this movement do not believe in the existence of soul. They say that it's possible for human beings to become immortal, and for this claim they have established two main arguments. First, the biological immortality. They believe that as long as the body is functioning well, you can be alive. Therefore, they espouse the idea that aging is a disease, and we at some point in time will have access to a technology that can reverse the aging process. And as long as our body is young, we'll stay healthy and death will not affect us, except if an external disaster happens. Second, the cybernetic immortality, which means that people will reach to a point where their consciousness will be embedded or downloaded to computers so that they can live forever inside a virtual reality, whereas their body dies. The most famous scientists, futurists, genetic engineers, and philosophers from around the world gather in Lincoln Center or GF 2045 to discuss about the newest strategy for human evolution. And strangely, some of the members of this movement are spiritual leaders, which means they do not only work on altering the physical aspect of human being, but also the spiritual aspect. Shortly, they even work on people's belief and behavior. That's why they talk about the genotype and phenotype modification. Genotype is a set of inherited genes which contains the physical characteristics of an individual, and the phenotype is the term used for the composite observable traits and behaviors of an individual. So by modification of these two, they do not only change mankind's physiology, but they also change their behavior, changing the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they react to their environment, and so on. So they are gathering and discussing about alteration of human race not only in Lincoln Center, but in all of the leading universities like Oxford, Stanford, and others. Brookings Institute, which is one of the key research centers on transhumanism, are writing the Future of Constitution series, and in the article number 9 and 10 of this series they are talking about the near future genetically engineered homosexual communities. This means that they are working on the sexual orientation of embryos through the modification of genes. Also, a study by Maxwell Millman and his team of law professors had used human subjects for establishing tests to genetically modify mankind as a part of the next step in evolution. Another things that are used for this purpose are the GMOs and processed foods. From the long-term side effects of GMOs and processed food are, first, the earlier puberty in children, which causes to awake the sexual needs and desires in them at younger ages. Second, the hormonal imbalance, which in some cases leads to sexual desire disorder. So this way the hormones become imbalanced, and from the other side, they work on your psyche through media, whether it's social media or TV shows or even commercials. So by using genetic modification or genotype modification, they try to change the physiology of people towards homosexuality. And from the other side, with the help of media, they work on the psyche of people to change their behavior towards homosexuality.